Okay, I'm going to explain the process of configuring Dreamweaver CS4 to connect to a remote server. As always, to configure Dreamweaver, you have to think about the phrase Manage Sites. Manage Sites is found underneath the Site drop-down window. So I'm going to click on Site, then Manage Sites. Then I get the Manage Sites dialog box here. I'm going to click on New Site. And we'll begin the site definition wizard. It's about 6-7 different screens. This first screen, all you have to do is give a name to the site definition. It's not the name of your site, of your website. It really is just the name of your configuration for Dreamweaver itself. So I'm going to call this Michael J333. It's arbitrary. It isn't anything that's going to affect your website. It's just a name for you to distinguish one configuration from another. The HTTP address, the URL, isn't really necessary, but in this case for Journalism 333, here's an example I note would be www.vegas-times.com/Michael in my case. I'll say next. In most cases, you do not want to use the server technology until you're ready to start programming with Cold Fusion and PHP and things like that. For beginning web developers, this is almost always no. So I'm going to stick with no and say next. I am going to stay with the recommended default of edit local copies on my machine, then uploading to a server when ready. It's the best thing to do. If you edit copies only on your server and the server crashes, you have no copy of your own. So this way you have two copies, one on your computer and one on the server. Now the question is, where are you going to store files on your computer? So I'm going to not just go to the default location of putting it into my documents in a folder named what I said 2 screens back previously, but instead I'm going to put it on my thumb drive so that my files are portable. So in case I'm working in a computer lab environment, for example, I can continue to use these files instead of being chained to a desktop or a workstation. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this folder here and click on my thumb drive after, of course, it's already been plugged in and ready to go. And I'll find the folder that I'm using for my files. And I previously created one called J333. And I'm going to choose that folder to store my files for my website on my thumb drive. And next, I'm going to tell Dreamweaver where the files will be stored on the server. And the files on the server will go onto a special location on a remote computer. And you'll have to get the username and password from the server administrator. And if you're in my class, that would be me. To begin the process of configuring Dreamweaver to know where to put your files on the server and how to connect, I would click on this first drop-down menu and set that to FTP. That's File Transfer Protocol. The host name in this case is www.vegas-times.com. Notice that there is no HTTP : in front of that. It's just simply www.vegas-times.com. You don't need to put anything into what folder on the server. It will automatically put your files into the correct location based upon your username and password. Here you put in your FTP login, which is your username. In most cases, it's your first name. So in my case, it's my first and last. And then the password that I've given to you. And I would go ahead and test your connection. If you've been successful, you will get a little message from Dreamweaver that says you have connected successfully to the server. If you don't get this, it will definitely tell you the same. It will tell you that you have failed. And so go back and check these different boxes, your username, your FTP login, and your password. That's going to probably be the culprit. Sometimes people don't type in the vegastimes.com address in there. And it's also possible that the network that you're on is not allowing an outbound FTP connection. So go ahead and try it. And see what happens, but with any luck you should be able to test your connection and be successful. The next screen is just simply asking if you want check-in, check-out. That's going to be no in almost all cases unless you're working in a team on a website, and that is fairly rare, so no is the correct answer, and we'll say next. And then you get a summary screen, which is all good, and say done. Now, unless you're going to stay on a workstation and use the same workstation consistently, Dreamweaver is going to forget the settings. If you're in a computer lab environment especially, the computer lab is going to wipe your computer clean as soon as you turn it off, so all those settings are gone. So I recommend exporting those that configuration you just built by going through that walkthrough. I say okay, and I'll put it on the same thumb drive as I'm storing my files. And notice that it ends with an STE. Again, the .ste files don't do anything for your website. It's really just a set of configurations for Dreamweaver. So don't think it's going to help you get into your files or anything like that. You have to import it. So I'm going to go ahead and save this STE file on my thumb drive. And next time I want to sit down and work, I can just simply go to import and go find that STE file and import it, and I'm ready to work in Dreamweaver.